Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another live stream. My apologies for those of you guys that are actually catching me live for being a little late today. Had a few technical difficulties out here getting situated here. But anyways, hey, welcome back. Hope you guys are ready. And for those of you guys that are watching this in the future, welcome into the show. Let's get right into it. I know for those of you guys that are watching this later on, you don't need a whole intro. But for those of you guys that are new here, I like to do a little bit of wait and see, in the sense of like, hey, when we start a live stream, I wait for everybody to show up. And because I know it takes a little bit of time for everybody to get their notifications. Even though I start around the same time every single Thursday, I go live. Sometimes I start a little late, like today. But regardless, I try to let you know if for whatever reason I can't make it. Speaking of which, before we get started, I might as well let you guys know where we are. Today we're going to be walking through Zapopan. Okay, this is back last year when we were visiting Guadalajara. Man, we miss Guadalajara. We definitely want to go back and visit again. Shout out to our friends out there. Shout out to Wendy and shout out to everyone out there. But yeah, definitely on our docket. But it's just, yeah, it's been such a busy year. We actually had a bunch of travel plans this year, but again, not because of money at all this year at all, because sometimes we haven't been able to travel because sometimes of financials, but this year it was mostly because just we've been so busy in a great way, in a good, not just a good way, a great way. And speaking of not having money to travel, well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about, Trump, now saying he's giving $1,000 to anyone that wants to self-deport. So, bruh. And by the way, this is a real thing. I did a little research on it, and here it is, just so you guys can see. All right, so it's right there. See. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go all about that. Bruh. I mean, because look, honestly, it is it's an important topic. It's not just I'm not just, me. I always try to make things a little more lighthearted on the show here. I do cover very serious topics, which is why I like to laugh and include, laughter into the show because, hey, sometimes, some topics are a bit rough. But in this case, again, this situation isn't that rough. I mean? It just really depends on who you're asking, what we're talking about here. But I feel that, look, we talked about this on the channel already before. I've done videos on it and I've done live streams on this talking about the fact that, look, there's a lot of Mexicans, in the USA right now that would love, to come to Mexico. Are you kidding me? They would love to come back home. But for whatever reason, again, there's many reasons as to why it's difficult for them to come back home. One of them being financial. Well, now this is, kind of starts taking a little bit of the stress off of it. So again, we're going to talk about this in a quick second. Just wanted to make sure everybody's situated. Again, once I get going, I get going. So anyway, shout out to everyone out there in the audience. We got, Baron von Crunch, shout out to you. 3D Puppy Adventures, cool name. We got Travel Girl, Adrian de la Torre, shout out to you. Shout out from Tepatitlan. Oh, Tepatitlan. I don't know what that is, but I know Jalisco, which is basically where we're at. I'm sure we're walking through, again, Zapopan, which is right next to Guadalajara. It's basically in Guadalajara. So, hey, where exactly are you, Adrian? How far away are you from Guadalajara? For some context. But anyways, shout out to Victor. Oh, shout out with a $5 super chat. Oh my goodness, starting off strong today. Look at that. You're making it rain like Trump up in here. Thank you very much. Shout out to you. Anyways, so yeah. So all right, let's see. Here we go. Joseph, shout out to Joseph, says, did you hear about the United States Cardinal became Pope? Yes. I mean, we're not gonna be talking about it in today's show here. Okay, one second. Hold on. I want to make sure because I'm running the production here on this end. One second. Where are we at? I was going to show you something. Oh yeah, hold on. Nope, not that. Wrong button. Wrong button. What was it? What was it? The Pope? What were you saying? Oh yeah, yes. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm telling you, man. I literally just sat down, like I just turned everything on because I knew I was running late. Sorry. I usually have a little bit more time to prep. Okay, but anyways, yeah. On today's show, for those of you guys that don't know, for new viewers out there, again, I have two live streams on Thursday, which is, the live stream on this channel talking about Mexico related stuff. Like today's topic is very Mexico related. And then, other stuff. We talk about all kinds of random things on the other channel, Jose Unleashed. By the way, shout out to everyone out there. We needed to get to 1,000 subscribers and we obliterated that. We're like at 1,030. We're a lot. But I need something else now. You know what I mean? The thing is, it's like I also need to have a certain amount of watch hours. So we're almost there. We're just like a few hours away. So yeah, can you go over there and watch some of these some of these live streams if you like the content on this channel. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about World War III has started without you. Again, we talk about all kinds of things. We already talked about the Pope candidates, and hey, I guess I won the bet. I gotta check my betting app, right? See if I hit the parlay, because I did pick the American Pope. I did say we were gonna go conservative, right? But anyways, long story short, I will be talking about that today on Jose Unleashed. So if you're interested in my opinion on that, which I got one, there's a lot of things going on. India, Pakistan. I mean, there's a gazillion things going on. So anyways, please join me over there later once we're done here. Anyways, enough with the shameless plug. Let's get back to the show here. Shout out to 3D Puppy Adventures from Laredo, Texas. Shout out to you. Caleb says, "Do I give tours?" No, I don't give tours. I'm not a tour guide, unfortunately. I do virtual tours, on the videos, so you can watch the videos. If you watch the videos, it's like a tour. It's like you're there with me. Here, let's put a little music in the background there. But anyways, where were we? Adrian says that Tepatitlan, I hope I know I'm saying it wrong, is 40 minutes from Zapopan. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. In fact, I know exactly where the area is now. Yeah, it's up there's like a residential zone that's like literally an hour drive up there. Yes, because there's a lot of affordable housing up there. And but when because we were looking into perhaps Guadalajara in the future, and yeah, there's a lot of affordable housing out there. But yeah, again, it's an hour drive to get to the city. So yeah, I know exactly where it is. Cool. Shout out to you. Yeah, it's very nice up there, by the way. Very nice. Okay, let's get back to what was it? Where were we? Brandon says, "Hola, ¿cómo está usted? I live in Louisiana." Shout out from Louisiana. Oh man. In fact, on Jose Unleashed, I talked about when I went when I celebrated when I was at Mardi Gras the last time I was there. So if you're interested in that, somewhere here, past live streams, you guys can check that out. Anyways, okay, let's get to the show. All right, guys, enough chit chat. I know you guys are desperately waiting for me to talk about it. There it is. See, tripping a hole in a paper cup during Mardi Gras. So there you go. In case you guys are interested in that. All right, let's get to the show. All right, so real quick, since we already got this screen on here on the TVs, I before I did the live stream, I wanted to check. Hold on a second, let me turn off the music here. All right, so I wanted to check that this is a real thing. You know what I mean? Because nowadays you just can't believe anything. So I went directly to the source, literally homelandsecurity.com or whatever, see, it's right there. Look, an official website of the United States government. Okay, so all right, anywho's, so so it says it right there, man. Just basically, I don't know. I don't live in the U.S., so I don't know what the hell's going on over there. But apparently there's an application that, that immigrants, were able to download. I guess like when Biden was president, that you could download that application so you can get your benefits. And now that same application, or maybe another application, I don't know. But anyways, now Trump is rolling out an application, and well, this is how. You go through the process. But long story short, yeah, there it is. Okay, there's the process. So basically, yeah, there's like a whole step-by-step tutorial in all languages, all right? So basically, this is how it works. Are you an illegal alien? If so, download the app, and then that's it. So like, see, download the app, sign in, log in. What else? Select a departing traveler. So that I guess, you I guess put in your information. Select intent to depart. Take a photo of yourself. Complete biographical information. Answer a few questions and about financial and passport needs. Submit, through the app. Submit to Homeland Security, receive confirmation, and then you'll get a assistance is required, meaning they're going to ask you, do you need assistance? And then meaning, no, I can depart the USA on my own, or yes, I can, I need help. And so if you say yes, apparently, then that's when they're going to give you the $1,000, and I think they give you a plane ticket, right? I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I mean, so we're gonna talk about that in a second. Look, I know there's a lot of you guys out there in the audience. Some of you guys approve. Some of you guys are, oh, this is disgusting. Orange man bad. Look, where I stand. By the way, if you don't know where I stand, you can just go to Jose Unleashed and look right there. I did an episode on it. Okay, okay, right there. See, it says we're on my own personal compasses. All right, right there. So, anyways, spoiler alert. It's not what you think. All right. Anywho's, or might be where you think. Okay. Anywho's. So yeah, it seems like it's not only is it real, but it's right there. See, look, the stipend will provide upon confirmation through the app. Wow. Okay. So all right, let's get back to some footage, right? Because there's a reason I wanted to show the footage. Where were we? Oh, perfect. Okay. So, for a lot of Mexicans, I mean, they're okay with all this. You know what I mean? Again, look, you guys are watching this channel, okay? Most of you guys are American, like, gringos, born and raised in the USA. I'm American, right? Same as you guys. Some Mexicans out here think I'm gringo. I don't consider myself gringo, but again, depends on who's asking and whether I'm gringo, Cuban, whatever, all right? Regardless, I'm a foreigner. I'm an immigrant in this country, okay? So, it has to be said, all right? But with that said, I'm out here, just like you guys, okay? We're out here in a foreign country, and again, there's a reason why we're out here. Look at the beauty. Again, this is just a neighborhood in Zapopan. In fact, the neighborhood is called Seattle, right? Pretty cool. It does kind of look like Seattle a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, we're just walking, through the park, on our way, to have some breakfast. All right, as you guys have seen in the previous episodes when I've shown you this footage and other footage of us in Guadalajara, just like I show you footage of where I live in Mérida, or I've shown you footage of Oaxaca or other places. And you guys have seen at this point, there's so many channels, so many freaking channels out there. Okay, basically talking about, oh my God, come to Mexico. Look how awesome Mexico is. And Mexico's amazing. Yada, yada, yada. All right. So, you know, with all that said, well, of course, there's a lot of Mexicans out there that they went to the USA temporarily, knowing fully well what they left behind, because most of them left some semblance of this behind. And in fact, some of them, most Mexicans that went to the USA, they probably, okay, grew up in a poor neighborhood and wished they could live in this neighborhood in Mexico. And they said, you know what, maybe I'll go to the USA and achieve the American dream, and then just live there in a neighborhood like this. But when a lot of them went to the USA, they realized very quickly, if you want to live in a neighborhood like this in the USA, you got to make some money. All right. And they ended up finding out real quickly they're just going to, end up working in a neighborhood like this. Okay. Just like they would in Mexico. All right. So with that said, a lot, that whole dream of, saving money, whatever, again, depending on when they got there and what their situation was, some Mexicans, they got there, let's say 30, 40 years ago, and they just set up roots. And some of them were able to achieve the dream, some of them not so much. But long story short, they don't want to come back necessarily. And then others, they've only been there like maybe 10 years or so, and they went there, just to make some money. And for whatever reason, they got stuck there. And some of them can come back, some of them can't come back. And so now this whole thing of like, hey, I'm giving you $1,000, to move out. And a lot of them want to move out. A lot of Mexicans want to move out. Again, just like a lot of you guys want to move out. Look, you got to keep that in mind, okay? There's a lot of Mexicans and Mexican Americans living in the USA, all right? So, by the way, so again, going back to my background, okay, yes, I'm out here, I'm a gringo, pero yo soy cubano, yo vengo de Miami, yo hablo español, entonces yo cuando estoy aquí con los mexicanos y me pongo a hablar en español, obvio, me pongo a hablar un poco más despacio, hablo en mexicano para que me entiendan, yucateco, etc. Look, some of you guys that speak Spanish, you got exactly what I'm saying. What was I saying? You know, the fact that at the end of the day, I'm out here and I'm a gringo. Okay. And sure enough, you know, depending on how I talk and who I'm talking to will depend on whether or not they're going to accept me as a Cuban or whatever. But again, they accept me. It doesn't matter what I am. The point is that I came out here, okay, as an immigrant, okay, from immigrant parents, okay, and have a whole immigrant background, all right. So, you know, when I came out here, all right, you know, the whole idea, again, I'm an American, okay. So as an American, okay, you know this. You guys are American as well, okay? Anyone or Canadian. You got nowhere to go. Everyone that is a Latino, because again, in Miami, everyone was, tú sabes, you know, from some Latin American country. So everyone out there always had the dream. Doesn't matter what their situation was. Always had that dream that, hey man, if it gets bad enough here in the USA, if I can't take it no more, if yada yada yada, I can just pack my bags and go back to Panama. Pack my bags, go back to Mexico, Dominican Republic, Colombia, whatever. All right. But me, you know, as an American and as a Cuban, again, as a Cuban, where am I going to go back to? Have you seen Cuba lately? You know, they got the communist dream alive and well out there. It's going great. So, anyways, no, you know, obviously I can't go there. And, well, as an American, well, where am I going to go? Nowhere. So I ended up in Mexico, and thank God I came to Mexico and I was accepted in Mexico. Again, it's because, you know, well, I love Mexico and, you know, I understand not everyone's going to accept me, but I do everything possible for them to accept me simply by just behaving myself. You know, I'm still myself. All right. I'm not going out of my way to, you know, kiss some ass or anything crazy like that. I just love Mexico and, you know, the whole aspect of, you know, my love for Mexico, you know, all the, again, the freedoms that I've been harping about for years. That again, now all of a sudden, it seems that everyone's interested in the freedoms of Mexico. More than ever, as more and more of you guys are losing your freedoms. So look, the point I'm trying to make, I'm going in circles here, but the point I'm making is that look, for a lot of you guys out there in the audience, you feel stuck, okay? And you're looking at videos about moving to Mexico as an option. Like, oh my God, thank God, you know, at the very least, if I try very hard, I can move out to Mexico and I can start over and I can get away from the craziness of what's going on in the USA at the moment. Okay. Because again, for a lot of Americans, Canada was an option, was an option. Okay. So obviously, you know, you know, that ship has sailed. So for a lot of Americans these days, or Canadians, you know, Canadians and Americans, you know, a lot of Canadians would come to the USA, vice versa, whatever. But long story short, that ship has sailed. So a lot of you guys are looking into Mexico and other countries. Now, when it comes to like moving to Mexico, again, you guys already seen all the difficulties that come with that and how badly you want to come out here because of, well, all the awesomeness that is Mexico. Now, with that said, don't you think that a lot of Mexicans, okay, that are in a very similar position as you or Mexican Americans, because again, I'm a Cuban American. So again, as a Cuban American, it's like I, I couldn't escape the USA soon enough. All right. And if Cuba was like Mexico, I would have left over a decade ago. You kidding me? Uh anyways, you know, that's another story. But anyways, but that's, I mean, come on, you know, this is being honest. And so think about how many Mexican Americans in the USA are just done with it. They're done with it. You know, they got no opportunity, no future, no nothing. Look, I've interviewed plenty of them on the channel. You know, very young Mexicans or Mexicans that are maybe my age in the 40s, you know, maybe Mexicans that are already getting close to retired. And it's like, you know, for a lot of them, you know, let's say the older generations, well, they, again, you know, they have fulfilled their destiny and now it's just, hey, I'm moving back to Mexico, to my rancho, to my house, to whatever, retire in peace. So that's that. People in my age group, meaning not retired, you know, early, you know, mid 30s all the way to 60, mid 30s to 60, a lot of them, you know, a lot of you guys, you know, again, you're like, wow, well, now what do I do? Now, for a lot of Americans, well, think about it. You don't know Spanish, you don't know nothing. It's a lot more difficult. Sure, you can become a digital nomad. Again, I've made tons of videos on how can get a job, okay, for an American company, for a Mexican company, for many things, no matter whether you know the language or not. So that's a side story, okay? But think about it. If you're a Mexican, or you're a Mexican American is what I'm saying. Think about it. You know what I mean? How many opportunities you have? You know Spanish, you know English, you have skills from the USA. You come out here and the world is your oyster. All of a sudden, you don't have to wait for residency. You don't have to do any of that. You're immediately a citizen. Immediately, you got a Mexican passport. Immediately, you're hitting the ground running. So, and then like this is the very young generation, because again, I've interviewed people in their early 20s. For a lot of you guys, I mean, it's either, move to Mexico, or you're like, how do I say it? It's like you stay in the USA, and your how do I say is your options are dire, okay, in many aspects of life. So for example, you move to Mexico again as a young Mexican, all of a sudden you can get a girlfriend, probably a wife, probably some kids, like right off the bat. It's like expected. It's your culture, okay? Um like the quality of life, the like the opportunities when it comes to work and all this other stuff. I mean, and I can go on and on. And so many Mexicans are like, hey, you know what, I'm not even gonna waste my time. I'm just gonna go straight back to Mexico. My family is in un rancho in Guadalajara, un rancho or in Colima. They have a house in Merida. They got whatever, right? And they just come here, okay? Basically, after college, or even assuming they even go to college, then they just come out here. And then they can become an entrepreneur. Out here, how many young Mexicans come out here and they just become entrepreneurs? Because the what is it? The something to entry, what is it, like hold on a second. The barrier to entry is not as steep as it is in the USA. Oh, think about it. You're a young Mexican, all right? You got ideas. You have a little bit of of an how do I say this, financial buffer, because of your parents or whatever it is. And then before you know it, it's like, and then you got options. It's like, all right, what am I going to do? Slave away at some job that I hate and all my, people of my generation hate, or I can go to Mexico, live exactly where I'm showing you. By the way, I specifically chose this video, okay, to show you guys. All right, there's many videos, okay, many nice areas of Mexico and Guadalajara, but I just specifically chose this one because it's a very nice area. But anywho, the point I'm making is that, like, I mean, think about it. How many Mexicans are like, you know what, I can live right there, right now. You know, start a business. Whatever. Even if I'm getting a job, I mean, come on. I mean, because like I said, I'm through the videos and the things that I do and the people that again communicate with me and talk to me. I am so surprised by and just what I see myself. How many people, that again, there are young Mexicans that moved out here. Look, there are. At this point, I know a lot of you guys have probably seen it. There are TikTokers and Instagrammers and all this other stuff that are young Mexicans that, for one reason or another, have moved out here. There's this one young Mexican. I don't know her Instagram or anything. I just kind of see it, when I see it. But she is someone that got deported. She's in like, and I think maybe 30 or something, 30 something, whatever. I would say my age at the oldest. All right, I don't know, but young, okay, someone young in their 30s, I would say. And she got deported like 7 years ago, and it was like a whole thing, bad situation. She got deported, and she came out here, didn't know anything. It was just like whatever. Anyways, long story short, she's now like a lawyer. Now she's she's living her best life, man. She's doing like 10 billion times better than me. And I can go on and on. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, man. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, even though I might know Spanish, and that was an advantage I had, that's the only advantage I had, that and maybe street smarts and a few other things. But other than that, I mean, for the most part, I really don't have much more of an advantage than you guys, okay? The only people that really have an advantage are those that are Mexican. And there's a lot of them. And many are returning. And again, I mean, yeah, I mean, again, whether they were born in the USA and are just and they're saying, you know what, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I'm not moving to New Mexico. I'm literally moving to Mexico. I'm out of here. All right. And then those that obviously, were born in Mexico, and at this point, they're either stuck in the USA, okay, or they've already had enough. So look, right now there's a lot of Mexicans that are stuck, okay? And what do I mean by stuck? Okay. So, that just like you guys out there, there's a lot of you guys out there that are paycheck to paycheck. You guys are, basically barely making it through the week or through the month. Again, I've been there. I know it. I understand the situation very well. So think about it. As you're a Mexican, that moved out there, or Mexican American, but just to say a Mexican, and now you're there illegally, and you're kind of like stuck in the same situation. And you don't live on the border. No, you live like deep in the mountains. You live somewhere close to here, probably in the hood of Guadalajara, whatever. How the hell are you gonna get back? Okay, and then just get back, but you're really gonna come back empty-handed, So now all of a sudden, like, think about it, you know, um, a lot of Mexicans now have a way, where they're gonna be able to get a plane ticket. They're gonna get 20,000 pesos. Claudia Scheinbaum is also gonna give them a Bienestar, card, which is another $100 plus other benefits. And, basically now for a lot of illegal immigrants that are basically stuck there working paycheck to paycheck, or stuck there, scared that they're going to get deported and then just thrown wherever, all this other stuff. Now, all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a minute. Senor Trump is going to give me a plane ticket to go back home, literally home. He's going to parachute me back home. I know, again, depending on who's listening to this, like, oh, that sounds terrible. No, for a lot of Mexicans, they're like, oh, thank you, thank you. The American Pope is doing his thing already. I mean, by the way,
Bruh.
how crazy is that? Well, again, we're gonna talk about that on the other channel later after we're done here. Okay, so don't forget that. Again, we're gonna go and talk about that later. All right, Jose Unleashed. So once we're done here, we're gonna go over there. But anyways, ay, craziness. And by the way, shout out to everyone out there that's been supporting the show. I want to hear real quick before I forget. A lot of you guys out there have been purchasing, a lot of T-shirts lately. So again, just want to give a big shout out to all of you guys out there. We know a lot of you guys know that poor Lambo has been on the mend. He's doing better. He's doing a lot better. But still, at this point, it is what it is. He's kind of like on a wheelchair. But hey, he's still here with us, and all your T-shirt sales have helped. Okay. Again, I want to again remind you guys we got many different styles. Okay, we got the most popular style. We got Gulf of Mexico, and we also have Golfo de Mexico. All right, so real quick, I want to show you guys. By the way, if you want to know where the store is, just go to joseadiaga.com. All the links are down below. Here, I'll provide it in the chat for anyone that's curious. Anyways, you go there and then you click on the shop all the way at the top. And look at that. You get to see some shirts. Shout out to everyone out there. A little shameless plug. But anyways, I know a lot of you guys, anyway, so we got them in Spanish, we got it in English, we got mugs, we got art that I made, and all kinds of other shirts, all right? Long story short, I digress, do the works. You already know. Anyways, the great way to help to support the show, and a lot of you guys have been helping to support the show. So shout out to all of you guys. And again, please check out the website for all kinds of free information. Before you pay for anything, for anyone or anything, again, please check out my website for free. Tons of free information. Check out my YouTube page. Free o'clock. All I want, again, because everyone's like, oh, he's doing it for. If there's an incentive behind it, yeah, there is an incentive. I want you to watch my videos. Maybe watch an ad or two. That's it. That's all I want. I don't care about anything else, okay? I'm not trying to sell anything, all right? That's seriously just T-shirts. All right, and if my time, if anyone out there wants a one-on-one personalized consultation and have a chat with me about whatever, ask you, you guys want to ask me questions, I can answer all your questions for those of you guys that don't want to dig through my videos. Okay, so I offer the free option for anyone on a budget. Watch my videos for free, all right? And you can just dig through there. You can do a search right there. See, search, all right? Whatever on, let's say, residency. Okay, you got residency, and then boom, you got a bunch of videos, cost of living, whatever, anything. Can I drink the water? Literally type it in. You'll see, okay? And you will find out. So please, check out my YouTube page, check out all the videos there first. Okay, so you guys can get all the information. If for whatever reason you can't find it or you don't want to dig through any of that, please, contact me, and we can do a personalized consultation. That's it. Okay, what else? What was I getting at? Okay, where were we? All right, I see you guys are asking questions. Oh, anyway, shout out to Margaret Covington. Margaret Covington, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, 1 second. What did I do? Anyways, shout out to Margaret. Thank you. My apologies. I didn't got a few things going on here. My brains.
Bruh.
That's my brains. Okay, anyway, shout out. Muchas gracias. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Anyways, where were we? I don't want to get too distracted here. But anyways, so with that said, so I mean, think about it. For a lot of Mexicans right now, that they're getting this news, that Papa Trump, is out there saying, hey, we want you out of here so bad. All right. We want you out of here so freaking bad. All right. That I'm going to pay for your plane ticket. I'm going to give you $1,000. All right. No questions asked. And I'm going to make it as easy as possible for you. I mean, so for a lot of people are going to take them up on that. Because again, we're just talking about Mexico right now, but think about all the other immigrants that came from Latin America, that came out here from false dreams. And now, again, they're not getting the benefits, they're not getting jobs, they're not getting anything in there. They want to go back to Colombia, they want to go back to Venezuela, they want to go back to wherever the hell they came from, and now they can. So I mean, because think about it, for Mexicans it is a little easier, but think about, again, you're coming from another country, and you really want to go back, and well, now you can. So and again, imagine people that are even living further away, so believe it or not, this is actually a a positive thing, for a lot of immigrants out there that do want to get out. Now, I mean, I wanted to make a joke out of this, but believe it or not, I was going to talk about something else on Unleashed today, because I was going to talk about the same exact topic over there too, because the thing is, it's like, the question I wanted to ask, I wanted to say is like, how many of you guys, how many people in the audience, would have loved, would love if they were offering you $1,000, to move out. I mean, think about it. Look, little jokes. Let's do jokes for a second, okay? But like, imagine how many Democrats right now would probably take him up on that, or how many people that hate him really bad, would really take him up on that. Yeah, oh my God, he's giving me $1,000 and a free plane ticket to go anywhere. So look, man, I don't know. To me, man, it would be pretty awesome if all of a sudden now he offers this service or this thing to everybody, not just immigrants, but like, or sorry, not just illegal immigrants, but anybody. Is like basically anyone that wants to take him up on this offer can feel free to, download the app and self-deport, even if you're a U.S. citizen. But again, as we talked about on Unleashed many times, you already know. For all those out there that are U.S. citizens, you ain't going nowhere, so you're tied, to the, anyways, all right, I don't want to get too into it, but yeah, long story short, great vacation. Hey, Jose, do you like Campeche? How's the Tren Maya? As a matter of fact, I love Campeche, even though I only went there once. But look, go to my YouTube page, click on the videos section, and just scroll down a little bit, or you can just type in the search, and I went to Campeche. Where did I go? There it is, right there with tree. All right, you see it right there. Here, right under Santa, all the way at the top. I went to Campeche with tree. Okay, and we're gonna go back soon, and we're gonna get on the train soon. Okay, the train, Maya. I've been trying to get on the train, but honestly, the thing is that it's difficult. It might be easier to get on there as a freight. We can get on there as two cows. All right, two cows. The travel. On the freight train, that might be a lot easier than going as passengers. But,
Bruh.
For sure, it's on the docket. Like, I literally was talking to Tree about this a day or two ago, and we're gonna get on the train soon. But again, I don't want to just get on the train and go to Cancun. I want to, you know me. In fact, we're going on a mega adventure this Sunday. It's already edited, uploaded, the whole thing. I'm just finishing up a few things on it. It takes a long time to make these videos, all right? Don't, especially a one-man production team, especially Lambo these days. He's not helping on anything. Poor guy. Anyways. the point I'm making is that like well, oh yeah, I got a mega super adventure for Sunday. So you guys on Sunday, set some time aside so you can enjoy the adventure because we got a good one. But yeah, we're gonna go back to Campeche. We're definitely going back. We're going to ride the Mayan train 100%. But again, you know me. I make a whole thing out of it. Again, check if you don't look, check out the video up here, Uman, so you can get an idea of what to expect. All right, with the Mayan train whenever that comes. Okay. Well, and also the Campeche video, same thing. So, all right, let me see. Kimberly, all right, it says, do you want him to pay it? Who? Pay what? Anyways, oh yeah. By the way, for those of you guys out there that still don't, okay, so I double checked, I triple checked. Okay, so this is the Homeland Security. It's right there. The U.S. government, U.S. government. Okay, and it's right there, and it's all explained. You see, $1,000 stipend. Okay, so how to get the $1,000, how to get the plane ticket, how to do it. We already did this earlier in the show. We went step by step. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, this is all approved by the American Pope. Okay, so please, it is what it is, guys. All right, I don't know what to tell you. It's just it is what it is. All right, I'm just here. Don't shoot the messenger. All right. So all right, where were we? Uh, let me see. So shout out to everyone. But anyways, but yeah, man, yeah, exactly, yeah. So you guys know my story. I came out here with $1,500 in a prayer. Like literally, I came out here with the Madonna CD. All right, living on a prayer. Anyways, no, but yeah, I mean, I came out here with Madonna. No, sorry, I came out here with my, living my prayer and $1,500 of 1,500 left to my name. So, are you kidding me? Imagine if I could have somehow gotten that extra $1,000. Oh my god, So, anyways, yeah, that would be hilarious if later on, he would start giving $1,000 to any dissenter that doesn't want to be in the USA anymore. It's not part of the program. Gonna give you $1,000 to kick your ass out of here, like Will Smith. You remember the Fresh Prince of Bel Air? Every time this guy would get kicked out of of the house, his friend DJ Jazzy Jeff. Anyways, every time I always picture somebody getting kicked out. I always picture that. So that's how I picture Trump doing. Just like Will Smith's dad in the show. Just always he's just throwing people out. Anyway, so. Uh, Miami Jefe says he has a 4,000. Look, he says, look. Miami Jefe says, I would self-deport myself for no less than $4,000. Look, again, this is why you're staying in the USA. And again, this is why you're never going to be picking those strawberries because, you're asking for too much money, just like a lot of Americans. But hey, look, I get it. When I was in the USA, I was always asking for a lot of money too because everything was very expensive and everything was just terrible. And I couldn't wait to get the hell out of there because now I make very measly, monthly stipend a month, but out here it's a lot of money. So it's not about the money. It's about, again, what you do with the money, how far you can stretch it and all this other stuff. So yeah, no, I get it, man. It is what it is. But that's the thing. If you're out here in Mexico, you see very quickly, you don't need that much, man. So, but hey, it is what it is. Da, da, da. Yeah, Steve says I think Campeche is a little laid back. Looks potentially like a good place to live. Yeah, it's very laid back, extremely laid back. That's for sure. So there's lag. Is there any? Is there? You said there's lag in the live stream. Oh, my apologies. Please let me know if the live stream is coming in okay. Yeah, sorry. Today's live stream turned into a chat with the audience. My apologies out there. But uh I was raised Catholic, but I'm not a Christian's Catholic though. She's more Catholic than I am. But anywho's, so yeah, look, the whole thing with the $1,000, to self-deport, man, a lot of people, a lot of immigrants, a lot of Mexicans are gonna definitely be taking them up on this. And look, I'm not just speaking out of my ass. I've literally seen many videos. I was surprised myself as to how many Mexicans, were out there, they wanted to come back home. In fact, I remember, as soon as Trump took power and he was doing the whole deporting thing, right at the beginning, I remember there was a lot of videos of a lot of Mexicans, they were workers, just workers, and they were there illegally and all that stuff. And basically, they were like, "Oh my God, thank God Trump is in power. Where do I go so that ICE can pick me up and send me back home?" Okay, kind of like a joke. But now that he's literally saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna just drop you off at the border. I'm literally gonna pay for a plane ticket to take you as close to home as possible and give you 20,000 pesos," which is it's a nice chunk of change, all right? So plus whatever money that they've already been earning, saved up in the USA. So think about it, uh, yeah, I don't know. To me, yeah, this is going to be interesting. And so now, speaking on that, since I've talked about this multiple times on the channel, again, there's many Mexicans that are moving back. Again, like I said, whether it's a young Mexican Americans, Mexicans that were born in the USA that have had enough. Young meaning, anywhere from 20 years old all the way to, 50 something years old. Okay. And then all the other Mexicans that are already basically close to retirement or retired. Because this is another thing too. Like as a Mexican, it's not like they have to wait. Many Mexicans, a lot of them that have been coming to Mexico and investing in Mexico and doing their thing. A lot of them they don't have to wait. They can just come to Mexico whenever. They've already have their home out here. They already got their thing out here. They can retire at 50, and 55, and then just wait it out and then get their Social Security whenever. So yeah. So yeah, to me, it's like I'm gonna. This is only gonna, increase the flow of more Mexicans coming back. Illegal, legal, whatever it is, and we've already seen a giant inflow of that. Again, remember, there's so many of you guys out there in the audience, and beyond the audience, there's so many that are not even watching this video or watching my videos at all or watching any videos. Anyway, so many Americans, Canadians, Europeans, so many people that are moving to Mexico for all the obvious reasons. Again, if you're watching this or you're watching my videos or you're interested in moving there, you already know why. I don't got to go into that right now. The point is that so many of you guys are already moving out here and you're doing it with all the difficulties that comes with. So imagine, okay, imagine now that as a Mexican, you can also move back, all right? And you've already experienced the USA, okay, or Canada or wherever, but in this case, the USA, and you know fully well you cannot get out of there fast enough. All right. Again, not everybody feels this way. There are plenty of Mexicans that are, MAGA, plenty of Mexicans that would love, to nothing more than to stay away from Mexico, and they would just want to stay in the USA no matter what. And we get that. We got to remember that, okay? That's always going to exist, just as all, that's why there's many flavors of ice cream, whatever. But the point is that at the end of the day, this is only going to, again, increase the flow. Because again, as things get more difficult each and every day in the USA, well, more and more people, more and more Mexicans are going to come back home. Mexican Americans or just Mexicans, whatever. And this is only, again, going to help, for those in the lower, kind of income range. Because remember, a lot of Mexicans, again, let's remind everybody, a lot of Mexicans just went to Mexico on a tourist visa, okay? And, sorry, not a tourist visa, on a work visa. And that work visa expired and they're still working. And they're working. So basically now they don't got to worry about anything. They just got to worry until, they just got to work until they get fired or until they can't find another job illegally. And then immediately, as soon as that happens, they just pick up and leave. They download the app and they self-deport and they get $1,000 when they pass go. I mean, come on. Give me a break. So again, I'm not talking politics at all here about anything. We're just talking about like what this is going to do for Mexico. And so now all that money is coming to Mexico. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? That $1,000 is not going to be spent in the USA. That $1,000 is going to be spent in Mexico, along with all the other money that they're bringing. So yeah, this is, long story short, again, a lot of Americans out there, a lot of U.S. citizens out there, a lot of you guys out there, actually secretly wish that they were offering that to you as well. How cool would that be? That, for so many of us, Americans, that are living in the USA that, are also tired and done with the USA and want to leave, that all of a sudden, that we could also get this. Again, who knows? Maybe down the line, they'll expand it to other people, but I doubt it. I doubt that's ever going to expand to U.S. citizens, maybe to residents, and maybe to anyone that's not a U.S. citizen. I think that once you, whether you're born into becoming a U.S. citizen or you become a U.S. citizen, it doesn't matter. Once you're a U.S. citizen, it's like you're signing your, what is it? You're signing that contract with the devil. It's over. You're done. You signed your soul away. Literally, look into it. Whatever. Anyway, so that's the way I see it. So I think who knows? It might expand to other residents, and other people in the future, assuming this program goes well, which I think it will. Like I said, because again, if there's how many legal American U.S. citizens are dying to get out of here? Again, how many of you guys out there are dying to get out of the USA and come to Mexico? A lot of you guys, right? A lot. So imagine how many Mexicans are the same, and I mean, for you got to be very naive, to think that anyone that has Mexican blood, I mean, so that everyone that has Mexican blood wants to be in the USA, no. Again, these days more than ever, a lot of people that have Mexican blood, Mexican heritage, whatever it is, they can't wait to get out of the USA just like you guys. So keep that, just keep that, in mind. So, anyways, let me see. A few questions. Mindful Abundance says, I live in Merida for over a year. Love it, but miss my children in the U.S. and want to go back to work maybe. I'll be back in a few years, God willing. And all right, good for you. Shout out to you. What is it? Congrats. Good luck with everything. I know a lot of people that are in a similar situation. I understand. Jose, what do you do for work? I'm doing it. I'm working right now. I make money from YouTube. Again, it's not a lot of money. I get it, but out here I can live by doing this, just like you can live, being a simple business, you can play music, be an artist, you can live out here doing that. Sure, I'm not going to be living in a lavish mansion anytime soon, but with enough hard work and dedication to my craft, maybe expanding further from beyond what I'm doing now. Yeah, maybe I'll get there. I'll get there eventually. But I get to do that here. We're in the USA. I cannot do what I do right now. I would have to also have a job. So that's why a lot of people ask me a lot of times, like, what do I do for work? This is what I do for work. I literally do this every day. That's why I don't have a production team. I don't got people to help me. I do everything on my own, literally everything. Plus I do all the regular house duties and a bunch of other, things that we all do as humans. So I run everything on my own. So yeah, this is, takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication, to get it done. So anyways, but that's what I do. But before that, what I used to do is, I used to, work online. I used to, again, on my website, you can literally find digital nomad jobs. Look all the way at the top, see digital nomad jobs. All right. You guys can see there. And you can, there's many things you can do. So for me, I was a freelancer. I edit videos. Again, I run channels. I do all this stuff. So for myself, all for myself. Okay. But I used to do it for other people. So again, when I first moved here, I used to have clients. Again, I did an interview with a friend. He does audio work, sound work for Hollywood and things like that. So he still does that. I used to do the same thing, but the video aspect, not that audio. Okay, I used to not work with him, but work with people like him to make a production. Long story short, that's what I did, and I could do that anywhere. Okay, so I would do that, and I would charge less because I lived in Mexico, so I would be able to get more clients. So I did that, and then there's other people do other things, so you guys can teach English. You don't need a degree, you don't need anything. All you need to know is English. If you speak English, you got it. That's it. So anyway, speak English. I mean, teaching English, you can do that. There's other jobs, more regular jobs. Again, I did a whole video. Okay, it's on my website. Again, look where it says free resources. Okay, right at the top, you see how to find a job in Mexico, and I go through it. So you can work for an American company in Mexico. You can work for an American company in America, but remotely. You can work for a Mexican company. You can work for yourself. You can start a business. There's many things you can do. Okay, but for me, I do YouTube. Okay, yes, 7 years ago, and during periods of time, I used to do odd jobs, and I used to do little things like freelance work and all this other stuff to bring in extra money. But God willing, I don't have to do that now. I can just, knock on wood, rely on everything I do here. All right. And again, I don't sell anything. All I sell are T-shirts, which don't bring that much money in, but they bring money. And what else would I do? Oh yeah, and I sell my time, which is I do, one-on-one video consultations, for anyone that wants to talk to me. That's it. So, but you got to get creative. A lot of people come out here and they want to live a millionaire lifestyle, and they're like, "Oh, I need to make $3,000-$4,000 a month." Oh, well, I mean, I guess good luck with that. It's going to be a lot more difficult to do that out here for many people. But for me, I'm content. Last year, last year I was making 700, 800 a month, and the exchange rate was really bad. So I was making a third of what I'm making today. Right now, again, making more money because I'm getting more views and other factors. I'm also, the exchange rate is better. So now it's like I'm making more money. That's why I've been able to get the electric bike, and I buy the camera. And that's another thing too. Instead of, going fancy, and spending that money on crap like a Starbucks latte like a lot of people do, I spend it on work, on my business, on what I do. I'm an entrepreneur, and I self-invest in my thing. And but yeah, I can go. I mean, I could talk about this forever, but I'm not. That's not what today's show is about. But you know what? It is kind of about this because a lot of Mexicans, they come out here and they can do the same thing. A lot of Mexican Americans that come out here and do the same thing a lot easier than me. So yeah, 100%. And by the way, I know a lot of people's like, oh, you earn in dollars. No, 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 no. Listen, I am a YouTuber. I earn in whatever currency I want to be paid in. So it does not matter what currency I get paid in. Okay, it equals to $1,500. Okay, but that's why I tell you guys. All right. And by the way, not every month. Okay, this month was not 1,500. Okay, at all. I had to supplement with other things. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right. And I got friends and family, Mexicans, born and raised here, that make 2 to 3 times more than I make. Okay. So again, keep that in mind as well. All right. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you come out here, you're earning in dollars. Yeah, so what? I'm probably earning less than you. What's your point? Who cares if I'm earning in Indian rupees, or what whatever. Anyway, so yeah. So just again, keep all those things in mind. There's a lot of things that go. So again, as a Mexican, think about it. Now all of a sudden you're a Mexican. I'm sorry, an illegal Mexican, right? And now you have the ability. Now you're gonna get deported back home, right? You're gonna get plane ticket, get $1,000, and now you've learned a lot. You probably learned some English. You probably got a good job. You probably learned some skills. Now you're gonna be able to translate that over here back to Mexico. I mean, you probably already been sending money back to Mexico. I'm telling you. So. So again, for real estate, again, for just going back to the website, guys, again, every question you guys have, I've answered 100 times already. And look, you guys can ask it. I'm here to answer your questions. So that's why I made videos about it, because I used to, go on a rant and answer you, Steve. But now, Steve, I can just simply say, hey, go to my website, click on the video, and I tell you exactly what to do. And there's all the sites are there. So you're saying, with real estate, do you like Proper Star, Viva Anuncios? Do you have any suggestions? Look, the reality is that like there are no suggestions. It's random. So the last time we were looking for a place, we found it on Facebook. So it's just very random. You got to look. It's just like when you're looking for certain item. You're buying a pair of glasses. I can tell you the best places, go to Sears. But then you're gonna say, oh yeah, but Lens Crafters has the same exact thing that you did for half the price. Well, we'll go to Lens Crafters, like, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, it's like you gotta shop around. They're gonna get the same thing. It's just randomly which is gonna be cheaper. I wish I could tell you. My apologies, Steve. Anyways, he said bike is cool. I like one with a long range, no pedaling. Yeah, so Christians is no pedaling. Has pedals, but she doesn't, it's more like a scooter, but I like the pedaling on mine, so I like it. I'm getting used to being able to pedal. and keep it a certain speed. Uh, so Mindful Abundance says lots of Mexicans doing extremely well. I don't understand why so many leave. Look, it's the same exact reason as in the USA. You know what I mean? Anyone that's looking at the USA from the outside, oh, the USA seems like everyone's doing well. You know, yeah, they got a few zombies and crack addicts, whatever. But other than that, seems like they're doing very well. Looks very nice. Why would anybody want to leave? So it's the same thing. There are poor Mexicans, guys. Come on. I've shown you guys in my videos. I literally was feeding what is not feeding the needy? That was another video, but we were giving toys away to like needy kids that live on dirt floors in the city, like 15, 20 minutes from where I live. All right. I mean, so there are poor Mexicans just like there's poor Americans. So, like, the guy that's raising his kids on a dirt floor, yeah, that guy 1,000,000% is going to be the one picking your strawberries. And that guy 1,000,000%, if he can get 20,000 pesos and a plane ticket to come back home, will take it immediately. Like, yes, please. I can't wait to see my kids. And I can't wait to see the floor that I paid for, now that my kids, have a regular floor and no more dirt floor. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, I mean? Mexico's very rich, doing very well off. That's the thing. A lot of people don't know how well off it's doing, but it still has a lot of poor people, just like every other country. One would argue that the USA has more poor people, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, a lot of Mexicans, believe it or not, yeah, they're doing. How do I say? It's like they're happy in their village. They're happy living their life. But if they could have a floor, maybe have a few more bucks so they can buy some equipment, so start a business. Perhaps have a few bucks so they can build an extra room or maintain their house in the village. I mean, so is there a risk of food shortages in Mexico? No. No, 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 no times 100. No times 1,000. Why? Because Mexico grows all its own food. Yeah, it imports a lot of corn, and it's looking very, what is it? They're doing everything humanly possible to import less corn from the USA. That's another story for another day. In fact, we're going to be talking about that in a future episode. But outside of that, most Mexicans, yeah, no, yeah, they're self-sufficient on food, on many things. In fact, the only situation would be water, because there's a water situation between Mexico and the USA. Another story for another day. There are droughts in parts of Mexico. That's again another thing. But food wise, we're fine. Mexico has a lot of abundance in that sector, and there's a lot of areas that have a lot of grow a lot of food. A lot of agricultural, a lot of cattle, a lot of everything. Whatever it is. So, in fact, they have a surplus. So most of the food that Mexicans eat is Mexican food grown here, and a lot of the extra food is exported. So when, like for example, a lot of Mexicans love to eat pork, a lot of pork, dishes, okay, especially in the region where I live, and but anyway, so they gotten to the point where now they have, what is it? They grow extra pork. I don't know what else to say. Anyways, they grow extra pork to export to China and other places. Just to get an idea. So I know in the USA they have no eggs, they got no chickens, they got no, I don't know what's going on over there, but not happening here. Again, I've talked about it where, look, how about this? I haven't, I'm not, I don't know, I've been collecting, these are my receipts, from the last 3 times I've gone shopping, okay? Just so you can get an idea. But like, yeah, for eggs, I mean, I'm paying for like a crate of eggs, a flat of eggs, I pay $3, maybe 350. No, $3, $3, man, $3, 350 tops, $3 or $3.50 for a flat of eggs. I mean, come on. So yeah, you guys are paying like $3.50 per egg. So right, something like that. What are my thoughts about moving to Playa del Carmen? I don't know. I mean, I never really been there. I hear great things. A lot of people love it out there. It's the beach. It's a beach life. I've talked about that. Because I'm originally a Floridian. I lived in various parts of the USA, but I'm a Floridian, okay? So I know a thing or two about the beach. And this is why I live in the Yucatan, which is very close to the beach. A warm beach, kind of like where you want to move to Playa del Carmen. But at least where I live, I got an option to live on the beach. But that comes with a whole set of problems and a whole lifestyle. Again, it's some people love it, the salt life, as we like to say, but some people don't love it. So it's up to you. Just be what is it? Do your research, because if you've never lived on the beach and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, my dream to own a home on the beach, la 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 la," and then before you know it, 2 years down the line, you're living a nightmare. You got sand in your house every day. The erosion is eating away your beach. I can go on and on. Okay, don't get me started. So now, living a couple blocks from the beach, that's probably pretty great. But again, you're living on the beach, which is a different lifestyle than living in the city or living in other places. So look, I don't know. I don't know about Playa del Carmen. I don't, again, tons of people live out there. They love it, and it's all great. But it's as far as I know, it's a beach lifestyle. So just again, please understand that, again, for some people, that's paradise. That's exactly what you want. Okay? But for some people, not so much. They think they want that, okay, until you're there. So for me, that's why I prefer to live, again, just a drive from the beach. I'm only like 45 minutes from the beach. That's when I lived in Miami. I did not live again. I had the option. I could live in Miami Beach. I could live in many areas out there. No, or North Beach or whatever. No, listen, no. Okay, I lived here. Okay, I mean, sorry, I lived like many miles inland. So I lived an hour away, just like I live here in Merida, and I live an hour away from the beach, 45 minutes away from the beach. All right. So I like it like that distance, right? So everyone's different, So again, I'm a Floridian at heart, so I prefer that. Oof, it's starting to get hot out here. Speaking of which, hope you guys are doing all right out there. Oh, whoa, we've already hit an hour, close to an hour. All right, so we're gonna be wrapping this up soon. Because I gotta remember, we got another live stream coming up. Let's not forget out there. All right, remember, we're gonna go live on Jose Unleashed. Got a lot to talk about, especially now we got a new pope. Holy guacamole! We got a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna be going live on the other channel real soon. So about 30 minutes, we go live over there. All right, I'm putting the link in the chat for anyone else wants to hang out and watch. Again, shout out to everyone out there. We have already surpassed 1,000 subscribers. We're like 1,030. Holy guacamole! Thank you guys so much for all the showing me all that love. But you guys really, really, really want to show me some love, hang out with me or watch the live stream after I publish it. Just go watch some videos. I would really, really love you. We're almost there. We're only a few hours away, from getting total monetization there. Eee. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about, well, World War III has started without you. Yeah, that's right. While you're busy, working your job, on your way to your second job, thinking about getting a third job, barely making it home to sleep, and living your amazing life in the USA. Yeah, World War III already started, and you didn't even know about it. So, not just that, but again, now we got an American Pope. We got, oh my God, we got again. In the sense of like just everything going on in the world. I don't care about who got picked. Just hang out with me, all right? Please join me over there today. Again, we're gonna go live in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Once we're done here, we're gonna go live over there. And that's it. So hopefully you guys will hang out with me today and we'll, chat about that. But yeah, long story short, guys, going back to the whole deportation thing. Look, it's a real thing. And like I said, I did some homework real quick, okay, before I did the show. I said, I read about it, I think yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, is this for real? And sure enough, it was real. And again, the website is there. In fact, I'll put the website out there for anyone else who's interested, because I know some of you guys don't believe me. So I'll put the website in the chat so you guys can check it on your own time. But yeah, long story short, look at that. See? It's just basically download the app, and look, they have it in Spanish. Okay, and then right there you get the $1,000. Okay, and it tells you exactly how to do it. Okay, download the app and then follow instructions, and that's it. You're good to go. So again, for a lot of people, This is actually really good because look, think about it. Now, how many people out there in the audience, again, no, maybe not in the audience, but how many people out there in the USA, they're illegal and they're hiding from authorities, they don't have a job, they're running low on money, whatever it is. And now all of a sudden they have this option where they're not going to be treated like a criminal or anything like that. They're going to be able to just literally be able to get on a domestic flight home like a human and get $1,000 pass once they pass go, and uh and then they'll be able to go back and join their family and join their life back wherever they came from, whether it's Mexico or whatever country it is. So for a lot of immigrants, I'm speaking from the immigrants perspective, they would love it. Again, a lot of you guys out there, okay, that are American born, USA born. Geez, you wish you were illegal so you can get the benefits again. Damn it, the illegals get all the benefits again. Here they go again. Always the illegals with all the benefits, right? They're taking our jobs. They're taking our $1,000. They're taking our plane tickets. No, but seriously, I mean, so it is pretty interesting, pretty funny. Okay, so Jonathan Gaspar says, yeah, yeah, my dude, a Mexican citizen. Yeah, you're a Mexican citizen, and you're from the UK, thinking of making the move somewhere in the UK. Oh, awesome! Saludos. What is it? Good luck. Felicidades. Congratulations. Hope you do. Mexico awaits. And Yucatan awaits. Steve says, I'm changing. Steve is changing his name to Esteban Maricelis. Awesome. Or anyways, Matt says, yes, I'd like to go to the Philippines if they would pay for it. Yeah, I mean, ditto. We all would, right? Like, maybe maybe we could, man, I'm telling you, man, there's always like, see, that's the thing, I could become a Mexican citizen, all right, and then once I'm a Mexican citizen, I can cross into the USA legally as an American citizen, right, and then declare that I'm an illegal Mexican because me llamo Jose Arteaga and whatever, that's enough, and then they'll deport me, or I can just deport myself and I'm good to go. Right? Nah, that's not gonna work. Anyways, but anywho's, I kid. Please don't try that at home. I know people would try that at home. So because
Bruh.
but anyways, yes, Yucatan is beautiful, but the heat and humidity, yeah, will kill you. If you're from the UK, it probably will. It probably will. It's probably too hot. You should come visit, check it out, and see how you like it. And if it's too hot for you, then again, the rest of Mexico awaits because most of Mexico has a similar climate to what you're used to, just better. Meaning it's very cloudy in England. It's not very cloudy in most of Mexico. So you'll have like similar temperatures, but you'll have sun, you'll have beautiful skies, and beautiful, again, culture, beautiful everything. So yeah, come check out Mexico. I mean, yeah, come check out the Yucatan, but you're probably going to be better suited in another part of Mexico that's a milder climate. Like again, the majority of Mexicans live and the more mountainous regions. Look, again, even in, again, Guadalajara, right here, this is very mild climate. So, this might be more your style. So, and again, to see the sun, beautiful. You get rain, you get all the weather patterns, you get to see all the, everything. No snow. You don't got to worry about snow. So, yeah, exactly. I'm literally from South Florida. I'm from Miami, all right? I mean, you can't get any further south except the Florida Keys. So that's where I'm from. So for me, the Yucatan is nothing, man. It's like what feels like home to me. Anywhere I go, look, my friend in Ensenada, yesterday we were at 104 degrees. Literally 104 degrees. No, not that it feels like 104. No, no. We were at 104 yesterday and the day before and right now. Anywho's, my friend in Ensenada, which is northern Mexico, right next to Tijuana, 64 degrees. Okay, 64 degrees is freezing to me. Literally, I know you guys are laughing. Don't believe me. Yada yada. It is. It's freezing. Just like you cannot handle 104, I cannot handle 64. Now, again, it's nice, for winter. We got winter and it's 64, maybe 60. Oh, let's dip down to 50. Ooh, the cold snap 40. Ooh, 45. Ooh, okay, yeah, that's nice for a little bit. That's it. Year round, I would prefer heat. Some of you guys prefer cold weather. Meaning, okay, you'll dip to -40 or -0 or whatever, -1 for a little bit, but you like it 65 year round, 75 year round. Okay, that's the rest of Mexico, not here. Okay, so either the mountains or you can go to Baja. It's not in the mountains, close to the mountains, So yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. The mountainous regions are very similar to like the USA because they're the Rockies. It's the same, you know. So yeah, very similar. So yeah, yeah. If you like Colorado, you'll love places like Guadalajara. If you love New Mexico, Arizona, then you're gonna love Nevada. You're gonna love in northern Mexico. If you love Florida, you're gonna love the Yucatan. If you love California, then you're gonna love Baja California. So and like that. That's why a lot of people cannot handle the Yucatan. Just like a lot of people cannot handle Florida. Okay? So it is what it is. So, but anyways, all right, guys, I gotta get going because I do need to take a little bit of a break, and I got a few things I gotta do before we start the next show. If anyone out there wants to keep having fun with me today, again, we're gonna continue this show on the other channel. Please, I would love for you guys to join me there on the other channel. We got a lot of things to talk about. Okay, a lot of insanity in the world, and I would love for you guys to join me so we can talk about it. And it is what it is. What are we gonna do, right? We're gonna cry about it, So it's either you're crying or you're laughing, and I choose laughter. All right. So except when I'm wearing those glasses, I'm crying. I'm crying behind those glasses. Actually, I'm laughing. I'm crying because I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. Okay. So if there's any crying, it's gonna be because you're laughing so hard. Okay. Anyways, guys, I would love to see you guys over there. Please, 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 have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Again, I want to give a big shout out to every single one of you guys that left a super chat. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for everyone out there buying the t-shirts again. We got Lambo with his Gulf of Mexico in English and Golfo de Mexico. You got this one, back when we used to live at the other place when I first moved to Mexico and so on and so forth. And we got so much more stuff on the in the clothes store, so please check that out. And again, thank you so much for helping support the show. And those of you guys that watch an advertising and help support the show that way, or don't do anything at all, just like, subscribe. Even if you leave a dislike, even if you share it with an enemy, share it with a friend, it doesn't matter. Everything you do helps so much, and I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You already know the deal. I'll see you guys here on Sunday. This Sunday, 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 we have a mega episode. All right, a mega adventure. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a mega adventure through the Yucatan, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it. And it's on Sunday, so go check that out. And I'll see you guys here next Thursday, and I'll see you guys here in a few minutes. Okay? All right? Before the end of the world. All right? So I'll see you guys there. Love you guys. Peace out. Have a wonderful one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.